Water is a human right. Access to clean running water is a problem in some communities in Uganda. Andrew has made it his life mission to help the people of Bwaise, Kampala, Uganda, to get access to this clean running water. These people in Bwaise are affected by floods and lack of sufficient water that's more so clear and running. This is Andrew's story.
So this is the community affected by water, affected by garbage, like we have seen around. We are still going to move. There are many things that are affected by the water most times when it rains. So a lot is adjusted, a lot is shifted into a different angle because of how the garbage flows, how the water flows, because it's not just clear water flow. So because there are many blockages, there's polythene, there's plastic, it doesn't flow easily. So like you can see in my background, it is people are actually living like on top of water, or it is close to them, it's at their doorstep. When it rains, the water levels go up. So it's really not actually a good environment to live in, because there's a lot that you have to go through. There's a lot that you have to overstep in the morning in case it rains. So it's not that easy for some people, and actually even children living here. So it is hard. It's a hard living condition in case you're going to school in the morning. You have to jump over these. You have to keep clean. So it's really a tricky environment. So when it rains, you can see the drainage is not that good. As you can actually see, there is garbage, the water can't flow easily. So even when the rains have stopped, it is not easy to flow. It keeps in the area, becomes stagnant, it's contaminated. And when it rains, actually the levels are high. At some point, even the water can get into the houses. So people always keep rising the floors. They keep pouring material, they pour bricks, debris from construction sites, so that the level can go up and the water doesn't enter into the houses. But as you can actually watch, the walls are all wet. So this construction can actually not stand for so long because the walls are weak. But without this garbage, without the polythene and plastic, it would be flowing easily. But because of that, that's why it's like this. So people have actually adapted. They have learned how to live in such an environment, but it's not that easy. So they basically have to live within the condition, the way they're affected by the water and the drainage. So like I was saying, when the water flows, the whole ground is really wet. Like the biggest part of the community is wet. The ground is soft, and some constructions are sinking. Like you can see here on my side, this house was actually high in its old good days, but actually now I am standing and I'm close to the roof. So the house is sinking, and the soils keep going up as the house goes down. So when you look at it, it's as if over the years, the construction is sinking, but it's actually the level around it that is going up. Then here, this is like I was saying, the new constructions. Someone's house is at this level, close to the roof. For someone who is building a new construction, they have to raise all this above me is the foundation. So the real fence starts from up here. All because they're affected by the water levels, they're affected by the ground being wet, being a swampy area. So there's no way they can control the water, so they decide to build higher to avoid all that. So in the long run, in case the levels go up, this construction is low. As you can see, the window is below someone's foundation. So in case there's an increment in water, it's going to affect all this, because some of even what flows, because if on the inside, the water level is at that point, because the foundation is all this, it means there will be an outflow that can actually come to someone's wall. So that's how it affects them. You see how the water floods. This is after rain. It floods in front of someone's door after serious rain, so they can't control it. It has already dried, but still it is stagnant here. So they have to look for a way to reduce it or to clean it off. But it can actually be here for long, because like you can see, there's green, meaning it sits in the area for some time. So for them to manage the movement, they have to raise the they put blocks like this so that they can step on while they move. Yeah, all the constructions like we've seen in such communities, in the slum, in the swampy areas, keep being as if they are sinking, but because they're affected by the water and because the ground is so wet, the water keeps coming up, and so the building can actually not last for long. And because of even the garbage that comes with it, because the water can't flow very well, so that's why even the buildings are being affected. But if it was going to drain out well, it would actually not affect the buildings like the way it's doing. So the drainage is like this all over, and because of how the water has affected, and also the ground is wet and it keeps sinking, there is no walkway, they have to improvise and get these sacks, put some soil, and then keep raising the ground. So as they're raising this part, and the water is also given a little passage, they have to also work on the walls in case they have to be protected, because if the water gets close to the walls, the construction will not be strong enough. So this is what they do all over, but some of them actually get covered by the soil because of the way they walk on. So simple bridge where they can't be able to jump over in case it has rained a lot. They have to create simple improvised bridges in wood. Sometimes it's metal, but of course metal can be stolen because it's scrap and it can be sold. So they improvise something with wood like this to be able to pass.
Tulina obuzibu obw'amazzi gano bw'omulaba ng'omwala guno okubanga giyita mu nzija zaffe ng'ate tegirina wala wagigiyita, ne tufuna obuzibu, gituviiriddeko obulwadde olw'abaana baffe abalwadde ebirwadde ng'ebiddukano, bakyala baffe kubanga gye bagenda kati nga bulaba ekiyigo nga kiri basangayo endwadde olw'ensonga nti amazzi gano golaba gajja n'ebirwadde bingi ebitulemesezza. Eri era tulini yaffe gye naali badde mpitanga ttoye yaffe eno, tufune obuzibu obunene obusangiddwa nti tetulina makubo gajeeta motoka kujja kutuyambako nga okujjamu obucaafu, ne tubanga nti amazzi gano bwe gajja gajjuza ttooyi zino, ne tubanga tufuna obuzibu obwezigendako ne tufuna endwadde. Ne tusaba eri abakulembeze ab'ebitundu n'abali ewala okujja okutuyambako nga ne baganda bange bano boolaba bali omwo nonaasula wano, nze nsula wali eri. Kati ne tufuna obuzibu tetulina bukulembeze bulungi, tusaba mwenna gye muli okujja otuyambako nga ffe abageto okututaasa mu mbeera zino ng'ez'amazzi gano agatuviiriddeko ebintu byaffe mu nnyumba okufa, ng'ate n'embeera y'emirimu mu kuyingiza mu nsawo esente zijja mu lusi mu kitono. Kati ne tusaba bannange ab'obuyinza bonna gye muli okutusaasira ku mbeera ng'eno gye tuyisibwamu n'okutuyambako eri famire zaffe, bakyala baffe n'abaana baffe ne baganda baffe ne mikwano gyaffe n'abakadde baffe, nga tusaba otusaasira mwenna gye muli mutuyambeko mu mbeera ng'eyo.
So such an environment is for someone that has invested. They decide to build well, work on their floors, make a pavement so that they are not affected by the water. In case it comes, it just flows, the garbage will not sit. So they're actually different from other areas we've seen. The doors are good, the floor is clean. Even if the water comes, there is no way it actually affects the walls. So these guys are actually doing better than those that we can see in the other parts of the community. So like I was saying, there are people who are actually doing better because they invested something in the construction, and even if water affects them, the foundation is laid very well, the walls are not that affected, they are protected, the bricks are on the inside, the cement is on top. But when it comes to a construction like this, it's very different because water is going to come up and stop somewhere for someone who has a better construction. But when it comes to someone on this part, it's a bit different because we see the house is being affected. But here, protected, but when it comes to this part, the water flows and it's actually at their door levels, so it affects the whole construction, as you can actually see visibly on the wall. So this is someone that, like I was saying, the rich person will buy the land, invest in their construction, invest in their foundation. So they are not affected in any way by water. They are not affected by garbage even. So everything will flow on the outside and affect people on the outside. So it comes down to someone like this. This house was tall. It was actually high, and I couldn't reach the roof, I think, if I was to come here, if it was earlier. So it is different now that I can touch the roof. The ground is so close. The windows are so close to the ground. So even the water is close to the windows. So in the near future, the water is going to actually be at this level, and even the ground level will be higher. So like the other houses in this community, it's as if they are sinking, but actually the ground level is going high because of the flow of water that keeps bringing this because of climate change and the weather changes and intervals. If you can see from the ground, it keeps going high, high. So if the ground comes up a bit, meaning this part will also be raised. Meaning on the inside, you have to step downwards. So this is the community. It's actually close to the road. It's close to the northern bypass. So during even the construction of the road, part of the water was diverted from the main road, so it actually flow into this community. So when it comes down to the water affecting some areas, this is a toilet construction. There was a school on the other side of this wall. So this is the latrine. So they dig down in the ground, but part of the foundation is actually on top. So it was a proper construction, but you see the type of bricks that they used. They are not affected by water a lot. It was just what they coated on top that was affected by water and kept peeling off, but it was actually done well. So this is actually the depth of the toilet. On the inside, it's actually hollow. So as you can see on this part, for someone that, because of how they've been affected by climate change, they've been affected by water, they have to raise the foundation high, because if you dig deep in the ground and get to the water level, it's going to keep coming up. The water will keep coming up and it will affect the sanitation. So they raised it. What would have been the wall of the toilet becomes actually where everything is kept. So this is supposed to be in the ground, but instead it is built on top so that they avoid the water level. So they adapt. It's basically they are trying to survive and see how to best live with this condition. So they build high.
Sanso balaba manyaga nze jali ya namatovu jajja wabaya yamanyiddwa nga mama fala. Ne zone je mulimu bagita mayinja zone Makerere 3 Kawempe division. Mulimu guno gwenkola njogera ku nsonga y'amazzi mu kitundu kyaffe. Amazzi bade gatusumbuyira ddala nnyo nnyo naye oluvannyuma olw'akasasiro atubeeramu. Ate nga olusikesi seeremerera okutuuka mu bitundu byaffe okutumugyamu. Oluvannyuma lw'emisomo egimu gye twafunako mu kesisi eyo mu biseera bya COVID, twasalawo oba nze nasalawo n'abaana bange bembeera nabo tubeere nga tusobola okukolekitinga ebisaaniko bino, kuba buli kisaaniko ekiri bwe batusomesa kya mugaso, kiyina amakulu, tulina ebivunda, bw'oba olina ennimiro osobola okulima ng'eri n'olima n'obiteekamu. Kati bino ebisigadde bikutiya bicupa ebyali badde bisiba amazzi bwe bityo tusobola bikuŋŋaanya ate era omuntu ne yeeyiya n'afunamu kasente akasobola omuyamba. Awamu n'ekifo erya yaffe n'esobola okuba nga emikutu gitambuza ki amazzi. So naalisabye kesisi ebeere ng'etuyamba okwongeramu otutemera ku mikutu, kuba oluusi waliwo emikutu emu gye tulemererwa ffe ng'abatuuze okukola ki okwetemera. Era ne kesisi ngisaba yali badde yeeyongera okuwa ekitiibwa oba okutunuulira abaana abo abakuŋŋaanya kasasiro, neebongeramu naddala ku biyambi nga bambi bakka myalo egyo ebicupa ne bibasala, misumali ne gibafumita olw'okuba tebalina bikozesebwa like gambutusi ne gloves. Baali babadde babatunuulira nnyo ng'ekyebbeeyi. kubanga bakoze kinene nnyo okendeeza ku nsaasaanya ya kesisi. Singa baali tebabikola singa mbuntu tutambulira ku bisasiro waggulu ennyama essebo n'ennyama. Naye kati oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti omulimu guno tugenze tugukwatamu kannabwala, ensonga 3 zensanze nga mu kitundu mwembeera kubanga nze nkola nga vyekitiibwa ekitundu. Nsanzeemu ensonga 2 zigenze zigonjooka nti amazzi gagezaako okukulukuta ate okusinga wano kuba senga wano temusobodde na kutuulawo. Namba 2, ensawo y'abantu nsanyufu nti oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti omuntu amanya ekiva mu kasasiro muno, omwami manya asobola okufuna ekyokulya n'okulabira famire ye. N'ekyokusatu kye nalabako bannange mu budde bwa COVID nti domestic violences zaali nnyingi nnyo awaka, ng'abakyala balwanagana ne babba baabwe, bukeera enkya amusaba ekyokulya tewali. Naye kati omukyala ne bwagenda nga talekedde mukyala kyakulya, agenda n'alonda kasasiro ono n'atumuleetera ne tumuwa akasente n'asobola okugulya abaana b'akawunga. Ze ensonga 3 zendabye mu mulimu guno. Tukubiriza gavumenti etuteekemu ku maanyi obekene wansi etunuulire mostly KCC bwe tunagamba gavumenti yasalawo KCC ebebikola etunuulire wansi buli kitundu naye ebitundu ebimu tebatutuukamu eno obuzibu bwe tusanze.